visible? Is my screen visible?
Not visible, sir.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Yes, sir. It is visible now, sir.
Okay. So thank you so much. So thank you to Siddiqui for giving me an opportunity. So it was so nice always to be associated with him and trying to do courses with him. So you have been undergoing a hectic lecture on how to do design of experiments, how to plan and get it done. So my topic for today is going to be on multi-objective optimization. So let us start with a simple example. The example is going to be, I would like to buy a car. I would like to buy a car. So that is what is my final objective. Because come this recently they gave when they said 10 days of encashment you can do in LTC and other things. So everybody in the government service, we all bought a car. So the toughest problem was how to decide which car to buy. One way you can say that, okay, let us keep cost as the primary criteria. Then let us keep the comfort as the primary criteria. Let us keep safety as the primary criteria. Let us keep the mileage as the criteria. Let us keep the after sale, that is the second sale of the car, as a criteria. Let us keep color as a criteria. Let us keep the comfort for driving comfort for the criteria. See, now you see I have put seven criterias in front of you, and now you have to decide which car to buy. So as a husband, I will first say the maximum amount I can give is 5 lakhs. I stop there. Then naturally the other things will start coming next to it. So the first thing is I say 5 lakhs. Now then my wife says, hell with you, I am least bothered about your 5 lakhs. I should have comfort when I'm sitting in car. So that is what my wife will say. The next one is, I will then try to say to my wife, see, I am ready to buy a 5 lakhs car, and I am also interested to know that the mileage should be high. So that is the second criteria I put. My wife says it has to be as comfortable as it is for driving. It should allow me to wear my sari and sit down, and when I get up of the car, it should not disturb my crease. It should try to not sweat in the car, and she will only talk about this. And the third thing, she will say the color. I would like to have a peacock green color or peacock blue color for the car. So these are the constraints. He will say, then what will I say? I said first is capital investment. Next I said is the mileage. Third, I will try to say the safety. And these two are husband, wife. Then the kids will come and say, the uncle of so-and-so has bought this car. The kid says, these are the comforts. The auntie of so-and-so has bought this car. So these are the comforts. So now I have 4 players who play an important role in taking a decision of the car. Whatever I said story, if I want to convert it into a problem and solve the problem, then what do? Is I try to do it mathematically. When I try to do mathematically, I try to take several of these factors and try to give weightage for each of these factors and finally come out with a decision. So here you see there is a need for multiple objectives to be optimized to get the clear solution. So my topic is more focused towards multi-objective optimization. Okay, let us take another example. I am trying to prepare tea in my house. The tea has ingredients X1, X2, X3, X4. What are these ingredients? These ingredients are tea powder, then sugar, milk, water, and other ingredients. For example, adrak chahiye, ye chahiye, wo chahiye. So these are for tulsi chahiye. These are the 5 ingredients for me to make a tea. So X1, X2, X3, X4, X5 to make a tea. Now, making tea is one objective function. So the other thing is, if I cook, for me making a tea is one objective function. For my wife to cook, if she does, she says the taste has to be the objective function. The third thing has to be economically it has to be made. So that is what is the third criteria. So now you see, I have to now play with X1, X2, X3, X4, X5 in order to make a tea. That is one objective function. Again, X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. Tasty tea is the second thing. My wife says, if the tea is not tasty, you throw it. That's all. The tea you make is useless. So for her, taste is the criteria. Then the next one comes, Ramkumar, once again, X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. We try to talk about the case. We try to talk about the cost. So now there are 3 objective functions. I have to optimize all these fellows and try to make a tea. So what did I do till now is I presented in front of you 2 different cases wherein which there are multiple constraints. I try to take a decision by getting all these views together in one shot. So that is what is multi-objective optimization. Is this clear? So if it is clear, then I will proceed to the content of the presentation. Is this clear? Okay, so if this is clear, let me go ahead in going through the content. I will give you a small introduction. Then I will try to talk about single objective optimization. Then I will try to talk about multi-objective optimization. I will try to talk about the dominancy test which is done to figure out the feasible solution. Then Pareto optimal solutions we will see. And then we will see 3 techniques which are generally used in papers. One is Gray relation analysis. And then next one is weighted average method or weighted sum method. The third one is my friend who has developed it is Jaya algorithm, who is Rao in NIT Surat. He is a faculty there, he is a professor there, he is a good friend of mine. We collaboratively work. So this is the third algorithm we will see before doing it. Is it necessary that these are the only 3? No. There are multiple things. But we have discussed, for discussion's sake, we have taken 3. Okay? And finally, I will have some conclusions. What is optimization? Optimization means it refers to finding out one or more feasible solutions which corresponds to extreme values of one or more objective. So you can have multiple feasible solutions for a problem. For example, X1, X2, X3, X4, X5 for a T. For just for T, you will have one values, one feasible solutions. For taste, you will have one, and then cost, you will have one. These need not overlap. But when you do optimization, we refer to finding out one or more feasible solutions which corresponds to extreme values of one or more objective functions. Okay. Then the next one is the need for finding such optimum solutions in the problem comes mostly from the extreme purpose of either designing a solution for minimizing or maximizing. Whatever you do, sir, there are only two things you will do. You will try to say either minimize the criteria or maximize. For example, maximize the taste, minimize the cost. Okay. The condition what I said, the first one, make a tea. Make a tea is a foolish constraint which anybody, you add anything, there will be a tea, sir. So why did I put this example in front of you? You should also clearly distinguish. There are criterias where you can apply maximization. There are criterias where you can apply minimization, and only these two are feasible. The third one you cannot. You generally don't put a solution like that, saying that make a tea, get this, get that. No, that is not practically possible because making a tea anyhow you will get a brown tea. That is okay. Okay, clear? So you should always see maximization or minimization criteria should be put on the constraints. When you do Taguchi, they say higher the better, lower the better, medium the better. Generally, when you try to solve medium the better, optimization, it gets into a trouble. So you try to avoid. Okay, when an optimization problem involves more than one objective function, like our T, the task of finding out one or more optimum solution leads to multi-objective optimization. Multi-objective optimization. Is that clear? Multi-objective optimization. So this is what we are going to see now. Multi-objective optimization, which is otherwise called as MOO, deals with the assertion of the best set of input parameters in the given range to satisfy the response with conflicting desirability simulations. Hello?
Sorry for the disturbance, sir.
Slide not changing.
Are?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just 1 minute. Why is it not changing? Good that you told me.
So you have to keep it in presentation mode.
Is it changing now?
Yeah, it is fine now. Fine, sir. It is
Okay.
changing.
Okay, so multi-objective optimization problem deals with the assertion of the best set. You can have even optimum solutions, 3 optimum solutions. From that, you will try to feasible is one, optimum also can be. But optimum, if you have 2, 3, you try to merge something and try to bring it out. So that is what is done in this multi-objective optimization. Multi-objective optimization problem deals with the assertion of the best set of input parameters in the given range to satisfy the response with conflicting desirability simulations. Okay, the value of the process parameter used in the experimental investigation are rarely optimum. So thus, we try to do multi-objective optimization is very much required. The multi-objective optimization consists of determination of your global optimum input which can simultaneously satisfy all the conflicting response. All the conflicting response. What are the conflicting response? Taste should be very good, cost should be very less. But these two are contradictory. Is it always that they don't come up with an optimum solution? No. You can still come up with an optimum solution, sir. It is not that you do that and then there is no solution for it. You have that. Okay, so that is what is told as optimum values on each response while solving them individually are used to convert them into a single or a combined solution. See, finally, when I told you the car example, I told my wife's requirement also has to be fulfilled. My son's requirement also has to be fulfilled. My requirement also has to be fulfilled. Then what do? I try to take all the feasible solutions and then I will say, okay, since I am the sponsor, 80% of the weightage is given to my objective function. Since my wife gives a better thing, so she will be given 19%, and my kids will be given 1%. So like this, what we do is we try to give weightages, convert the feasible solutions into one solution, and then try to have multi-objective optimization. The optimum values of each response will, while solving them individually, are used to convert them into a single or a combined objective function. The single objective function is either maximize or minimize to evaluate the optimum global values of input parameters. Okay, so this is what is very much talked about here. So it involves more than one objective function. It should have multiple objective functions such that it can be maximized or minimized. Then the objectives compete with each other. So multi-objective analysis is used to reveal the trade-off between the two. When I said the car example, how much weightage? I since I don't have money, I said 80%. Suppose if I would have got a little bit free money, so I would have said my weightage is 30%. Then my wife, she will say that, okay, comfort in driving, safety. So she will say 30% to comfort, 30% in safety. So overall, if you see, she takes 60%, but her individual objectives are taken 30%. So multi-objective optimization analysis is used to reveal the trade-off between the different objective function. That means to say, I give 20% here, I give 30% here. Who has decided this 20 and 30? It's for the discussion. It is from the literature search. It is the way I am powerful in taking that decision. Suppose if I go to a hotel and if I want to order for pizza, my kids take more weightage than me and my wife. If I go to a doctor, my wife's objective function takes more weightage than me and my kid. So you see there is a trade-off between all these things. Okay, so this is what is the important thing which you should know. Fine. Then what we do is we find the set of solutions that define the best trade-off between the competing objectives. Okay, so the next one is in single objective optimization problem, the superiority of the solution over the other solution is easily determined by comparing their objective function value, right? And then in multi-objective, the goodness of the solution is determined by the dominance test. So the first one, the superiority of the solution over the other solution is easily determined by comparing their objective function values.
Excuse me, sir.
X1,
Slide
X2,
is not
X3, X4.
changing. Excuse me, sir. Slide is not changing, sir.
Why?
So please consider
Sir,
slide
keep it
as
in
a
presentation mode.
very interesting. Then it will change it.
So should I go out and come in?
No, sir. There is
Sir,
the
keep it
option
in
to
presentation mode.
See, I am using the share window. Okay, let me go ahead. So why is it not going? Okay, so now I am going here. I am going to share window. I see my multi-objective. I am sharing it. Now do you see?
Sir, keep it in presentation mode. Then only we can see the changes.
Pardon me, your voice is not very clear. Okay, so what do you want? You want stop sharing. So let me go ahead once. Entire screen it is not there. So I have to go to tab. Window. I take this, share is done, and you tell me why is it not visible? Is it now changing?
Only one slide. No, sir.
Is it changing now?
Now it is coming, sir. Yeah, slide number 5 is visible now.
Only slide number 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is a problem. So wait, so I will exit out and rejoin. Just give
Sir,
me a minute.
I think you
sir.
have, sir, you have to
It is
share your
showing,
full
sir.
screen.
No need of
You have to share your full screen,
Sir, you
not
have
the
to go
window.
in the slideshow option.
Wait. So one of you guide me. I go to my slideshow option. I am in slideshow. Now you tell me.
So present now.
Then yes, entire screen, window, tab. Which one to
Entire
choose?
screen, sir.
entire screen.
Entire screen. Entire
Entire
screen.
screen. Entire screen is not coming.
Full
Okay,
screen,
let
sir.
me. Yes. Entire screen is not coming, madam. Your entire screen.
Sir,
Say,
window option is also fine, sir.
wait.
Sir, you have to choose entire screen again, and
So is it coming now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please try to change.
Yeah.
yeah, it's working. So
It's changing
fine.
now. It's changing. It's
It's
changing.
working, sir.
Okay. So sorry. I'm sorry. Extremely sorry. Okay. So let us go to this. Okay. In multi-objective optimization, what we do is we do something called as goodness of the solution is determined by the dominance test. It is done by the dominance test. Okay. So here are few applications. Household with renewable energy supply, where there is, you can see single optimum and multiple optimum is also there. So you can have PV array, you can have inverter, you can have solar collector, you can have hot water tank, you can have wind battery, this, that. There are so many decision variables are there. So all these things are mathematically modeled by technical performance, cost, and then life cycle assessment. So life cycle assessment means I install it today, how long will it go, what is the yield per whatever it is, that is what it is. From here, what do? I try to have an objective function, is net present cost and the environmental cost. I can try to solve one at a time, and it is called a single objective optimization. If I take two, it is called as multi-objective. Of course, here they have used genetic algorithm, but you can do multiple objective. You do an optimization, and then you try to go ahead changing these variables. Okay, you can also try to take wire EDM as an example. So in wire EDM machining, so you try to have varying parameters, voltage, current, this, that, and then finally what you do, you try to calculate material to mold rate, surface roughness. So these two are measured. So then what you do is you push it through this gray relation analysis, whatever it is. Then you apply Fussy algorithm. Then you try to calculate the algorithm, the relationship, Fussy logic algorithm, gray relationship, you get the weightages, and then you try to determine which is the optimum condition. You try to do the test and confirm whether your answer is correct. You try to do it. So this is also multi-objective optimization, which they do for wire EDM process. Next is, let us consider now the decision making involves in buying. So this is another example. Let us consider the decision making of buying a car in automobile. The car is available at a price ranging from few thousands to few $100,000. Let us make two extreme hypothetical cases. One costing about $10,000, solution one. Another costing about $100,000 is solution two, as shown in the figure. So you have one solution here and another solution here. So you see here the comfort is 40% in solution one and it is 90% in solution two. Okay, so is the screen now visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So now, if the cost is the only objective of this decision making, then I will take the 10,000 K as solution one and I will try to go. If there were only objective to all buyers, we would have seen only one type of solution which is there on road. No car will be manufactured at an expensive price. Okay, so this is what is it. So now, barring some exceptions, it is expected that an inexpensive car is likely to be less comfort as compared to that of a good car, rich car. Okay, the rich car buyer for whom comfort is the only objective for decision making. The choice is solution 2. So between these two extreme cases, this and that, you have three intermediate solutions, A, B, and C. So there are number of solutions A, B, and C with differing cost and differing comfort level. Thus, between any two solutions, one is better in terms of one objective, but this better comes only from the satisfaction of the sacrifice of the other objective. What I'm trying to say is, one solution is here, second solution is here. Now, in between, you will have three solutions. Now, when you try to do this three, you will A or B or C. You can say A, you have sacrificed the cost but moved in terms of comfort. B, you are midway through cost and comfort. C, you are into more comfort zone compared to cost zone. That means to say you are spending more cost. So that is what I said. Thus, between any two solution, one is better in terms of one objective, but this betterment comes only from the sacrifice of the other objective. So now I have laid very clearly what is the difference between single objective and multiple objective with example. So when we talk about yes. Hello? Okay. So when you are trying to talk about multi-objective of optimization, this is how the schematic diagram looks like. You will have multi-objective functions, which is minimize function 1, minimize function 2, maximize function 3, subjected to the constraints. You will always set the constraints. For example, when you do experiments, the constraints are going to be the range. Okay. Then you will have one ideal objective optimization. Then you will try to have multiple trade-off solutions found from which you will try to have a higher level of information, and finally what you choose is only one global optimum solution for solving this problem. So you will have multi-objective optimization, you will have individual objectives. These individual objectives you will try to have either maximize or minimize, and then you will try to and also you will try to apply those constraints and try to solve the problem. So here it is like this: minimize subjected to function you have already given, where you have two constraints G and H. One of the constraint will be equal to 0, the other one will be less than or equal to 0. Fx is a scalar objective function, xn is the vector of decision variable, where G tries to take a value of 1 to k and H tries to take a value of 1 to k. Inequality constraint functions are there in G and equality constraint functions are there in H. So now the dominance test. Let us find out what is the dominance test. X1 dominates X2 if solution X1 is no worse than X2 in all objectives. I repeat, now with this, what are you trying to do? You are trying to do the dominancy test. So in dominancy test, what you do is, you will try to have solution Xi is no worse than X2 in all objectives. Don't worry too much, just understand. I will show you an example where you will get better clarity. Solution X1 is no worse than X2 in all objectives, then X1 dominates X2. If X1 is strictly better than X2 in at least one objective, then X1 dominates X2. If X1 dominates X2, then X2 is, if X1 dominates X2, then X2 is dominated by X1. If X1 does not dominate X2 and is not dominated by X2, then X1 and X2 are non-dominated solutions. I will repeat the last two statements. If X1 dominates X2, then X2 is less dominated by X1. If x1 does not dominate x2 and is not dominated by x2, then x1 and x2 are non-dominated solutions. Let us look at this. When we take f2 is minimized, f1 is minimized. Solution 1, if you take, it is trying to have minimization of f1, but when you try to see f2 minimization, it tries to take a higher value. In the same way, when you try to take f2 is there in the higher value, f1 is there in the higher value, f2 is there in the minimize. So here if you see, this is what is non-dominated solution. I repeat, if you try to take 1 as a solution, you see that in f1 it occupies a smaller value, but in f2 it occupies a higher value. When you try to take solution 2, then if you see their solution 2 tries to take f2 in a very minimum value, but whereas f1 in a larger value. So these two solutions are non-dominated solutions. What are dominated solutions? You look at f2 here. f2 it occupies low, the solution 2 occupies f1 minimum as well as f2 minimum. So f2 is dominating over f1. f1, if you say, it occupies maybe 50% of f1 and 50% of f2 in minimization. But this solution is dominating over the other solution. So now I am sure you will be able to distinguish what are non-dominated solution and dominated solutions. Let us keep moving. The dominancy test. Let us now see, you have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these things are variable solutions, objective solutions you have. These are all not optimum, but you have 5 different objective solutions. So now what I am trying to say is, when we are trying to find out a multi-objective optimization, you compare any 2 objective functions. Say for example, first one you take f1 and then you take f2. f1 tries to have half of maximization, but it is half of minimization. But when you take f2 as the objective function, it tries to give minimization in f2. So minimization is very less, but maximization is also very less. So amongst these 2, 1 is better as compared to 2. Now let us take other 2 objective functions, 1 and 3. So now you compare 1 and 3. If you see that f1 has maximization and f2 will be minimum, so 3 is much better than 1. When you look at 3 and 4, 3 is much better. When you look at 3 and 5, 3 is much better. So now the best solution is 3 as compared to that of all. So this is how you do a dominancy test. So whatever I have explained to you.
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, can you please repeat this?
Okay. See, now I have 5 objective solutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time when I do, I try to take only 1 pair. So when I try to take a pair, you see 1 and 2, I'm trying to take a pair. So what I want the best maximization and the best minimization. So naturally, my curve, if it is here, or the objective function, if it is here, it is the ultimate. Correct. So it is minimize here and maximization if it is somewhere here, if it comes through. But if you see there, maximization is very less. F1 is very less for 2, but F2 is maximum. So amongst the 2, you have sacrificed F1, but very good in F2. When I take 1, 1 tries to give a trade-off between F2 and F1. So now I choose 1 as the best solution. Now I compare 1 and 4. So when I compare 1 and 4, if you see there, it is trying to sacrifice the F2, but it tries to give me in F1, okay. So now F1 is much better. But when I go to F1 and F3, 3 is much better than F1. So I try to take 3 as compared to that of 1. And 5, it is now trying to go out of the way. So I am trying to choose 3. So I compare 1 and 2, 1 dominates 2. 1 and 5, 1 and 5.
How can we say 5 go out of this?
See, 5 and 1, if you see that,
Yeah.
see 5, you are trying to spend something more
Okay.
to get 1. If I could get the same solution in 1, then I will choose 1.
Okay. If we are talking about minimization, then 1 is good, no, sir?
Correct. So here, if there is no change in it, no?
But if we want to maximize, then 5 is good.
Correct. So that's what I said. You have to hit a trade-off. If you want to say maximization, I want more. There, for example, the comfort of the car, I want more. I am getting for 5 lakhs. Same car, one is giving more comfort, the other one is giving less comfort. Then I choose more comfort. Now the cost is only 5 lakhs. So I choose which one you want.
3.
No, you choose 5 or 1.
5.
Anyone. Now what do you do among this 1 and so A, if you choose 1, again what is left out, you will try to play 1 and 3 or 3 and 5. So when you do that, 3 comes optimum.
Yes, sir.
So now you choose 3. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, I'm happy you're asking questions. So whatever story I said in the graph, for your betterment, I have explained. Let me read line by line so that you will understand much.
Sir,
Let us
but-
assume that the object, yes.
Sir, but in 3 and 5, the 5 is maximization, more maximizations are F1.
Correct.
So out of 3 and 5, which dominates? I think 5 dominates 3. Or
Sir, again, see, these are 5 different solutions, but
Sure.
it is left to you to put a trade-off. Suppose that's what I said. For my wife, she would 5 lakhs car. I would accept lesser comfort, but my wife wants more comfort. Suppose if F1 is comfort, so my wife will choose 5 as compared to that of 1, because the cost is the same.
Okay.
Correct. Suppose if there is a cost reduction and maximization, if I want to keep both me and my wife very happy, the cost has gone down by maybe 1 lakh, 4 lakhs, I get a better comfort, then I choose only 3, I don't choose 5.
Okay.
So it is left to you to fix which of the 2 you are putting more weightage, and for the final this thing can be done.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so here it is left to you, sir. So if your wife is the dominating person, she says comfort. If you cost, you safety, wife says, and you put driving safety, driving comfort. Your wife says pillion comfort or passenger comfort.
Sir, may I have a question here?
Yes, yes.
Sir, that means when we are selecting 3 in between 3 and 5, that is we are giving more weightage to F2.
Yeah. Yes. Where am I? So what has happened? I have lost my screen? No. Is my screen visible?
Screen is visible, sir.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
it is now.
So yeah, it is left to you to put a trade-off, sir. It is left to you to put a trade-off. Okay, so you see here, let us assume there are objective functions. 1 need to be maximized, the function 2 needs to be minimized. 5 solutions with different objective function values are shown in the figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since both the objective functions are important to us, it is usually difficult to find out one solution which is best with respect to the other. Cost and comfort. However, we can use the above definition of domination to decide which solution is better among any 2 given solutions. So you will compare 2 and defeat 1 and 2. Okay, for example, if solution 1 and 2 are to be compared, we observe that one solution is better than solution 2 in the object so in the better than solution 2 in objective function 1, and 1 is also better than solution 2 in objective function 2. Thus, solution 1 dominates the 2. So like this, if you start doing it, you will try to get one feasible solution.
It means
Okay.
that it means if we are talking about cost, then F2 will be important for us.
Yes.
And if we are talking about the comfort level, then F1 is more important.
Yes. So it is your decision. See, finally, whatever certain, see, in life, there is nothing called a fair game.
Yeah.
You finally dominate, dictate, and take what is that. So you ultimately take a decision, this is good or bad.
Okay.
So at that point of time, you will only dominate and you give the weightage. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And when you try to compare, you cannot try to compare all 6. See, but today's technology you can do. So this, why am I talking all these things? Two you take, because we are trying to talk in terms of a plane. Nowadays, the genetic algorithm and other algorithms are there which talks about a complete space. So you can do 3-dimensional. So you can compare multiple points and then try to get the optimum solution. That is also possible. But here what we do, we are trying to teach primitive. So I have taken 2, compare, choose one, then take 2, compare, choose one. And finally, whatever comes out excelling is that what you want. So that is what is the dominance test. Okay, non-dominated solution set gives a set of solutions. The non-dominated solution set is a set of all solutions that are not dominated by any member of the solution set. The non-dominated set of the entire feasible decision space is called the Pareto optimal set. So we'll see what is Pareto optimal. The boundary definition by the set of all points mapped from the Pareto optimum set is called the Pareto optimal front. So when we move in the front, it is called as Pareto optimal front. So these are all the Pareto optimal solution sets. So you have a decision space. So within this space, you have to take a decision. We have x1, x2, 2 variables. So what is this? How does the decision space come? You have a range in which you do experiments. So within that range, when you do, you will have multiple solutions. So when you plot all those things, it comes into a decision space. Like that, you will also have optimization space. For example, I am trying to minimize F2, I am trying to minimize F1. So what is this space? This space is called as objective space. Now what do? You try to map the decision space with the objective space. So the 3 points in the decision space will try to be mapped to the this space. And when you try to draw a line passing through these points, so then that is called as the Pareto optimal front. Pareto optimal front. Okay. So now in goals in multi-objective optimization is you are supposed to find the solution as close to the Pareto optimal front to find the set of solution as diverse as possible. So you are trying to find out as close to the front, but as diverse as possible, such that you can try to take the best decision. So this is what is called as Pareto optimal solution set. Is this clear? First, what did you do? You tried to get F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. You had 5 different optimum objective solutions, for which every solution had x1, x2, x3, x4 as variables. Now with that F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, you first made the dominance test you wanted to make. Then in the dominance test, you picked up the solution. Now what do? You try to go to the Pareto optimal space, try to map the optimal solution with the decision space with respect to the objective space. Decision space is the range with which you can work. Objective phase is the objective functions which you finally choose. So there we try to figure out the front and then we try to do it. So if you have understood this, then we will start looking into the various techniques. Any question up to here?
Once more, please explain the Pareto optimal front.
Pareto optimal front is, see, you have objective space. In this objective space, you are trying to choose objective functions. In these objective functions, you will try to choose, and then what you do is you try to draw a line. So draw a line, a curve, or whatever, join those points. So what you get there is the objective front. And in that front, you will have objective points. And try to have these points diverse so that you get a better solution. So this is what is feasible objective space where 1 and 2 are there, so that you try to get the Pareto optimal front and then you try to get the optimum solution. So in the goal of multi-objective optimization is going to be find a set of solution as close as possible to Pareto optimal front. Front is this. Then you try to have a set of solution as diverse as possible so that you will try to find out the best one. So now let us see 3 different algorithms which are used for doing this MOO. See, today an engineer or a researcher has to have only 2 things in mind. You have to know how to understand the problem and define the problem. Once you can define the problem properly, then the second thing is going to be, there are so many softwares available which you dump in the data, it will give you the output. Now, whatever output it gives, you have to validate the output. So an engineer has to do only 2 things today. Understand the problem and convert the problem into a mathematical solvable form. Then once you put all the variables, then there are set of black boxes available. So one is this Gray relation analysis, JR algorithm, weightage based method. These are all black boxes where the software is readily available. You have to dump in and then get out whatever it is. Okay, so you should know 2 things only: how to convert the problem such that the program can understand, how to validate the results. So these 2 are very important. Gray relation analysis means, so this is one of the algorithm which is everybody is nowadays using. Gray element represents an element with incomplete information. Gray relation analysis is used to determine the optimum condition of various input parameters to obtain the best quality characteristics. So here it is multi-objective optimization which can be done. Gray relation analysis is broadly applied in evaluating or judging the performance of a complex project with mere information. So major information with little information. Okay, GRA can be used to derive optimum conditions for multi-objective problems by providing weightages to individual response. So the steps which are involved in Gray relation analysis: data is first pre-processed, data is normalized. So the data is pre-processed means you convert all the data, put it in the table form. Normalized means you are normalizing across the columns. Across the columns, you are trying to normalize across the columns. For example, you can take speed as 300, 800, 1000, 1500. Now you are trying to normalize across it to convert it into a value. Then what you do is you are trying to find out the deviation sequence. Then we are trying to find out the Gray relation coefficient. From there, we try to do the Gray relation grades. So these are the 5 steps which are involved. First step is data processing and normalizing. This data to be used in Gray relation analysis must be processed into quantitative index for normalizing the data, raw data to analyze the document. So first you are trying to put all the values in the range, whatever you got, all these things you are trying to put. Next, individual columns, X1, you try to normalize, X2, you try to normalize, X3, you try to normalize. So, pre-process the raw data in the process of converting an original sequence into a decimal sequence between 0 to 1 for comparison. So, every column will have 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. If the expected data sequence is of the form higher the better, you can have higher the better, lower the better. Here I have put the higher the better formula. Then the original sequence can be normalized. Current value minus the minimum in that column divided by the maximum minus minimum gives you the xi. So x0 naught k is the original sequence. X star k is the sequence after the data processed. Then you try to maximize x naught k, the largest value, minimize the x naught k, and then you get it. So
Sir, your voice was
So I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So nowadays, you see that at places like IIT Kanpur, there is connectivity issue. So, Mr. Azhar Iqbal,
Yes, sir.
you always unmute yourself and create disturbance in the session. I have seen you, I think, 3-4 times in this session. No? So please be careful in the next time. Otherwise, I will remove you from the group. I have to be forced to remove you from this chat, from this FDP group. So connectivity is a very big issue in India. At places like IIT, we sometimes we may find problems in network also. So I think even Professor J. Ram Kumar sir has covered so many issues, and now he is presenting again. Very nice. Very nice to see him once again.
Sir, unmute yourself.
Okay. Sorry, I have placed these two slides. Are you able to see the slide?
No, sir, no.
Acha, slide is not visible. I have
Sir,
some
it is
problem.
visible. Visible.
Now
Yes, sir, it is visible.
now it is visible, sir.
So
Visible.
now what I would request you is please go through this one and see how did it come, and then you can ask me questions. I will give you a 2-minute break. Let me have some water. You go through it, and then we will start once again.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
I have another algorithm also to play. So
Oh.
please don't think I've Okay, so let us start.
Sure, sir. Sure. Welcome, sir. Once again, sir.
Yeah. So now, is the screen visible?
Yes,
Is the
sir.
screen visible? Yes.
Sir, visible,
So
sir.
now is the scrolling also there? You could see the slide change?
Sir, you change the slide?
Yes.
No, not working, sir.
Okay. I think this one is.
Now it is working, sir. Working.
Now it is working? Okay. No problem. So is it now changing?
You change, sir. Sometimes it stop at some specific slide and don't go ahead or back.
No. So now I am changing the slides because last time we had a problem. Now is it changing?
No, sir. No.
No. I think somewhere some problem is there. Just give me a minute. I'm reloading it.
Fine.
The entire screen. Is it now visible?
Sir.
Yes. So now is the screen
Changing, sir.
Okay.
Sir. Fine.
So fine. So now you look at it. So this is what it is. So now you have this minimization, and then you do the second order. From there, this condition suggests that x1 lies in discrete region of constant with 1 by b, or it is given in this function. So then what do? I come to this. I get a star 1 if it is 0, then I take the ratios, it is 1.68. If a star is equal to 1, then the ratio is this. But I know the two weightages can be equal to 1. So when x1 takes a value of 0, the weight W1 is going to be this much and W2 is going to be this much. When I take x1 equal to 1, then I know this is going to take this much, and I know this is what is going to take this much. So thus the chosen any weightage vector within the above bound 0.271 and 0.672, and for W2 it is going to be 1 minus W2. We can find out the corresponding optimum solutions with the previous equation A and B and get these solutions are again done in Pareto analysis. You see here, this is what is Pareto analysis. The weightages, whatever we did here, W1 by W2 mathematically, pictorially, that means to say here. Okay, so when we wanted to do that convex sum method hull, so you have this formula. This formula has to be applied, and you try to get what is the Pareto optimum front and what is the feasible optimum space. So this is what you will try to get, and this is what is the solution. The slope, whatever you drew with respect to this curve, where that meets this curve, that becomes your feasible solution. So that is what is done here, W1 by W2, W1 by W2. Okay. So now let us go. If it is a convex case, it is like this. If it is not a convex case, so you see here, then the solution will be somewhere here. You will have two solutions to solve the same problem. So it is a non-convex Hell case. So here there exist many algorithms which can handle convex MOU well, but it faces difficulty to handle such cases where it has a non-convex Hell. If the case comes like this, the solution is straightforward. If it does not come like this, it comes like this. Okay, so these are the two things. Okay, so now let us go to the third algorithm. Third algorithm is called as multi-objective Jaya algorithm. Jaya is Ram's daughter's name, so Jaya Lakshmi, so he kept it as Jaya algorithm. Jaya algorithm is advanced optimization technique. Unlike other similar techniques like genetic algorithm, particle swarm algorithm, artificial bee colony algorithm, Jaya algorithm does not have algorithm-specific parameter which sometimes affects the final solution if you fine-tune between the parameter and it is required. So here this is said to be very easy, and this is one of the best solutions which you can do. You can do Google and find out more about this Jaya algorithm. So here there are 4 steps which are involved. The first step is you try to determine the prediction model through regression analysis, first one. Then what you do is you try to find out the performance of single optimum algorithm. Then the third one is going to be the utilizing the optimum algorithm. Okay, the third one is going to be utilize the optimum value of the output from single objective function and then finally determine the goal. So these are the steps. So let me take live example. These are all the trials which were run 27 runs. These are all the energy conditions. These are all the feed rates. These are all the wire speeds. Wire EDM was conducted. The output which was measured was curve loss and cutting rate and material removal rate. These three were formed. Is the slides moving for you?
Sir, it is fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. So now then what do I do? For every condition, I try to find out F1. F1 is what is the relationship between A, B, and C with respect to F1. What is your A, B, and C? A, B, and C. Okay, so I take F1 solution, F2 solution, F3 solution. Then I try to balance this F1, F2 such that my R square value is more than 0.9. So I get R square and adjusted R square value is this for F1, F2, and F3. I take this. Now here I have chosen this thing. So this is all A, B, and C, and F1, F2, F3 are the output responses. Now what do I do? This is what is J algorithm. So now I try to take number of initial solutions, select randomly. I try to take 3 or 4. Number of design variables, I try to take 3 because A, B, and C I have. Now the criteria for termination is number of iteration. I say 10,000, 100, 15, whatever it is I say. First what we do is we try to optimize the individual output response separately without taking into consideration the output. Now, using the optimum results conducted of multi-objective optimization for simultaneous optimization of conflicting responses, we try to take. These two are the steps we do. First, what we do, initial population size, you decide 27. Then number of independent variables, 3. Criteria for termination, 100 cycles. Determine the best and the worst solution of the population. So you try to do it from here. Right. Next one is modify the solution based on the best and worst. You try to use this as the algorithm. If the solution corresponding to Fij is better than the solution corresponding to F dash j, then yes, accept and replace the previous solution. If it is no, keep moving with the solution. Okay, keep moving with the solution. Then you try to move, then you try to terminate, and then you try to get the report of the best solution. This is what is the algorithm says. So the individual optimization, I would like to maximize F1, I would like to maximize the curve loss, I would like to maximize the cutting rate, I would like to minimize the curve, the volume of material removal rate, whatever it is. I would like to try to minimize F3, maximize F2 and F1. So theoretical values, what I get in this is this. So these are the steps what I have got through using. So optimum results obtained by J algorithm. So now I have taken, these are all individual. So now I try to do multi-objective optimization of that. So now I try to combine the function Z max is equal to F1 by maximum F1, F2 by maximum F2, F3 by maximum F3. Why I said yes, Z? Minus means it is minimization. So maximize, minimize are the optimum values of F1, F2, F3 as given in the table. And then the negative value on the third side to talk about the minimum and to the maximization problem. The J algorithm is repeated while considering Z max to the objective function. The J algorithm used for the optimization is given as multiple objective optimization. So this is what is the global optimum I got. This is what is the corresponding values I got. I try to solve it and try to get it. So if you want to know more about this, you can directly get the complete algorithm, which is there. If you do Google, it is completely there. So you can try to get the help, or you can try to ask me. I can try to give you the algorithm. So finally, what to conclude, we have seen maximum MOO has the dominant role in finding the best possible solutions. The problem of MOO are numerous and can be found in various ways of human life. It differs from single objective optimization to single does not consider the other responses and other influences. A trade-off has to be hit between the single responses. Multi-objective optimization comes in their way, and selecting the proper algorithm tries to solve complex solutions. These are the references which I have taken. So those of who wanted to see the weighted average, it is available here. And then this is a paper which we have published in using the Jaya algorithm. It has got published. So you can even say this DOI, and then you can try to get it. So with that, I would like to thank you all for patiently listening and asking me questions. Thanks to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to have interaction with all such wonderful participants.
Thank you very much, sir.
And if there are questions, we will try to take. Otherwise, we will try to close this session because lunch time has come close by.
Participant, you may discuss any issue related with multi-objective optimization. Any query, any further research you are doing in the field of optimization of manufacturing?
Yes, sir. Sir, good afternoon.
Yes, please.
Sir, we are speaking about Jaya algorithm.
Yes.
Sir. So I could see from Venkat Rao, who invented the Jaya algorithm, that the constraints are not there for Jaya algorithm. Whether this optimization techniques.
Correct. So you solve F1, F2, F3. You have to do these experiments and you have to solve with individual functions. F1, F2, F3.
Okay, sir.
And then only you will try to do that.
Okay, Professor.
Okay, fine.
See, constraints are basically you give, no, sir. See, you go back to these are all LP problems. So you try to say these are the things which you try to say. No, you would have done this and then you would have come to this function, right? Constraints you only apply for your algorithm. See, for example, in this, what is the constraint you will say? The range is there. And you did experiments.
Then one more, sir. Then when with respect to R square value, in most of the cases, when we are doing it for R square value, we always predict for more than 0.9 should be coming for an function, objective function. But however, I could see some journals, some articles, I could see the R square value is around 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Also, they are working along it. May I know what is the impact this R square value will give on
this R square value, you forget engineering. You have a set of data, you are trying to use that data and you are trying to predict. You have a set of data in a XY plane, you have scattered data. Take a handful of mud and you spray it in an XY plane. You have several points. Now with these several points, you wanted to infer some data. So what is that? You would like to convert it into an equation. So when you try to convert it into an equation, the line goes through all these things and it tries to say, how good is my curve with respect to the data spread? And now what happened? From that, you are now trying to build an equation. And how do you know how good is your equation? You try to look at the R square value. Correct. So from that, you try to say my curve is good. So my curve can talk more about the process. Suppose if your process itself is random in nature, then the very low R square values are accepted. For example, you wanted to fine tune certain things for cooking. The R square value should be very high. If you want to do fine tune and if you want to talk about some event which is happening, then we accept it with 0.5 and 0.6. So depending upon the process, whatever you do, with the process, whatever you do, the R square value is accepted. Finally, this R square value, they only look at the R value. So if you have 0.8 or 0.7, that is also okay. Okay. But
Okay, sir.
we
Okay.
have a myth that it has to be as close as possible. So then what do? We keep on increasing the order term. So we from linear, we go to second order, third order, fourth order, fifth order. So when you go higher and higher and higher in the order, physically meaning gets defeated. So don't worry too much about the R square value. If the R square value is 0.5, 0.6, fine. But you should justify your R square value for why is that so low because of your process.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Professor Ramkumar sir, for joining us. Your presence will always add value to any event. You are such an eminent personality in the field of mechanical engineering. No, really, sir, I really thankful to you from the core of my heart for joining us and give a presentation on such a new topic of multi-objective optimization. We also learned so many new techniques like J algorithm. I have learned first time, and some other methods.
Yes, this algorithm is very good. Tirumalai, if you are trying to use this Jaya algorithm, you start working on it. If you have doubts, you just drop me a mail.
Yeah, it is better, sir. It is better.
Yeah, Tirumalai, you only asked me the question, right?
You may discuss on the email also.
Yes, sir. I will discuss with you, sir. I will discuss.
So what you do is, whatever you are working, you send me the table. We will try to work on that
Okay,
table,
sir.
and we will try to give it to you, saying that okay, this is how you have to do. Finally, you have to write the paper.
Fine,
so I
sir.
cannot help you there, but I can tell you this is our steps
Yes.
which have to be used so that it will be of use for you. Okay.
I have
Okay,
shared,
sir.
sir,
Okay,
sir, email in the chat box.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you may use that email for any future discussion with the sir. To
Yeah.
add these words, I am thankful to you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will be in touch for future research in the field of multi-objective optimization. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Okay.